Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire. Let's begin. First up, ongoing government shutdown poses challenges for college students. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
We have students who are federal employees or who are married to federal employees who are affected by the shutdown.
And that's exactly why Southern New Hampshire University has issued a $1 million emergency fund to help students and employees who may be struggling to make ends meet.
We don't want to lose them in this, and more importantly, they're in real need.
The money will be provided in the form of direct grants with no repayment expected.
This would be any student or employee who is either a federal employee who is not allowed to work or married to a person.
The shutdown has also created some hurdles for students on campus and across the state who are applying for financial aid.
So far, the impact has been on students who are selected for verification.
That includes students who can't get their IRS tax transcripts, preventing them from completing their financial aid application. The U.S. Department of Education has since stepped in.
They'll allow us, instead of getting a tax transcript, to get a signed copy of the tax return that they submitted, so in either 2017 or 2018.
But if the shutdown continues, there could be more problems down the road.
But if this goes on and is impacting the creditworthiness of particularly parent borrowers, I think that our congressional delegation is going to have its work cut out for them in terms of working with federal student aid.
And now back here on Southern New Hampshire University, those who are in need of assistance can apply for those grants on Thursday. Reporting live here in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Governor of New Hampshire, Vermont, plan to unveil joint paid family leave plan. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Defining issue in the 2018 campaign for governor.
I do question the commitment to putting forth a paid family leave.
Governor Chris Sununu faced a steady drumbeat of criticism from Democrats for opposing a paid family and medical leave bill that passed the House last year. He called it an income tax. The governor said he was coming up with his own plan, dropping hints in a WMUR Facebook Live interview back in October.
My program includes the state employees, has no startup costs because it's a public-private partnership, doesn't have the 40 employees that theirs was going to need to keep it operating and running because we're bringing the private sector in.
Now the plan is ready to go. News 9 has independently confirmed it would leverage the combined buying power of the 18,500 New Hampshire and Vermont state employees, creating a viable market for affordable paid family and medical leave insurance. The plan would be administered by a private insurance carrier. Both private and public sector employees would be allowed to participate, an option that was not available under the legislation being discussed last year, and there would be no liability to the state.
Again, this will be a joint announcement. Governor Chris Sununu and Vermont Governor Phil Scott together in Littleton, New Hampshire tomorrow at the Schilling Beer Company, rolling out a new paid family and medical leave plan to cover both states. Much more to come tomorrow. In the studio, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we will be sure to have that complete coverage for you tomorrow. House committee takes up bills to expand voter turnout. New Hampshire Democrats who objected to what they viewed as voter suppression legislation are proposing new bills aimed at expanding voter turnout. The House Election Law Committee held public hearings Tuesday on two constitutional amendments. One would allow 17-year-olds to vote in primaries if they will turn 18 by the day of the general election. The other would make absentee ballots available to all voters, not just those who fit certain circumstances. While many other states already allow 17-year-olds to vote in state or presidential primaries, such a move has the potential to capture more voters in New Hampshire, where the first in the nation primary typically falls about 9 months before the general election. The state primary, in contrast, comes just 8 weeks before the general election. And let's switch gears now and talk about sports. Tonight in sports, World Series champion Red Sox set date to visit the White House. The Boston Red Sox will be going to Washington, D.C. to celebrate their World Series victory at the White House next month. Their visit is scheduled for February 15th, the team announced Tuesday. That's 2 days after pitchers and catchers are scheduled to report for spring training and 3 days before the first full squad workout. Red Sox manager Alex Cora, who was vocal in his calls for President Donald Trump to do more in wake of Hurricane Maria's damage in Puerto Rico, said in December that he plans to accompany the team on the trip. Cora also said he wanted to use the platform in the right way. The traditional White House visit has become increasingly partisan, with some undefeated players already declining to make the trip because of their political views. When the Patriots visited Trump in the White House for their Super Bowl victory, attendance was also not mandatory, but most members of the team did attend. Last year's Super Bowl champion, the Philadelphia Eagles, had their invitation revoked when it became clear that only a small number of players were willing to attend. On Monday, the Clements Tigers visited Trump's White House to celebrate their victory in the College Football National Championship. The president said he paid for a meal of burgers, fries, and other fast food out of his own pocket because of the partial government shutdown. And switching gears, let's move into your weather. Weather right now is a few clouds, 28 degrees. And your weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, lows in the teens. And your weather for tomorrow, partly sunny skies, highs in the upper 30s. And your weather for tonight, turning windy. Tomorrow night, turning windy and colder, lows in the single digits. And now let's talk about some events happening this evening. 6:30 p.m., the New Hampshire Gay Men's Chorus holds audition for spring at First Congressional Church in Manchester, New Hampshire. Also at 6:30 p.m., Flying Film Ben is back at the Flying Monkey in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And Optum Nutritious for school-aged children at 7 o'clock p.m. at Pine Hill Campus at High Mowing School in Wilton, New Hampshire. And those are the events happening this evening in your arts and entertainment section. And that did it for Good Evening New Hampshire with Riley King. I hope you all enjoyed this edition of Good Evening New Hampshire, and have a wonderful night, everyone. And see you back here tomorrow night for another edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Goodbye, everyone.